Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add ribbing to the armholes and the neckline for the Alcott sweater vest. This is a free crochet pattern on my blog. I will have it linked down below. And while I'm showing you how I'm specifically doing it for this pattern, this is a great technique that is really useful to know, and you can use this technique of adding ribbing on any project, so any sweaters, cardigans. This is a great technique to know. So how we work the ribbing is we're going to work in rows back and forth, and we're going to be attaching it as we go all the way around. So I've already worked the ribbing on this armhole and the neckline. It is the exact same method for both, so I'm just going to show you how to do it on this armhole. Okay, so to begin, we're going to start by joining our yarn at this side seam right here at the underarm. If you are doing the neckline, I would do it back here on the back of the neck. So we're going to start by joining our yarn. So I like to insert my hook and then do a yarn over and just pull that through to attach the yarn. So now we're going to do our chains, and this is going to determine the width of the ribbing. So the numbers will be a little bit different for each size. I am crocheting a medium, so I'm going to chain 7, but refer to the pattern for your specific size. Okay, I zoomed in so you can see a little bit better. So I have my 7 chains, and now we're going to work our first row into these chains. So I'm going to skip this first chain right here, and I'm going to work 1 half double crochet into that second chain, and then I'm going to work 1 half double crochet in every chain across. So now that I have 6 half double crochets, we're going to join this back into the garment. We're going to work 2 slip stitches along this edge here. Now for this specific pattern, because it is on a curve, it is very important to not work too many rows, or else it will be too ripply. This is the same for a straight edge if you're working like a collar or the side of a cardigan, but this is especially true when you're working armholes and necklines because you do not want it to ruffle. So there isn't really an exact science to this, and you'll kind of learn as you start doing more rows kind of the distance that you need to work. But basically I just find a space somewhere in here, and I'm going to work 1 slip stitch. So I inserted my hook and I yarned over, and now I'm going to pull back through to connect it like that, and then we need to work 1 more slip stitch into this side, so right there. So now you have 2 slip stitches right there. So now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to turn my work. Okay, and it should look like this. Now for this specific pattern, we are working half double crochets into the 3rd loop only, but you can use this technique for any ribbing. So you can do half double crochets in the back loop, single crochets in the back loop, double crochets in the back loop. It all depends on the pattern that you are following. So for this specific pattern, we are going to be working into these loops right here. This is the 3rd loop of a half double crochet. You can see those top 2 loops create the V, and then if you flip your work, you see that 3rd loop right here, which is what we are working into. So to begin, round 2, we're going to skip over the 2 slip stitches. So we have our chain 1 here, and then our second slip stitch here, and then our first slip stitch is right here. So we're going to skip over those, and we're going to work into that first half double crochet. And again, for this pattern, we are working into the 3rd loop. Okay, it should look like that. So now we're just going to work 1 half double crochet into the 3rd loop of every stitch. Okay, and I have just completed row 2. So now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to turn my work, and we're going to do the same thing. So work 1 half double crochet in the 3rd loop of the half double crochet, so you should have a total of 6 stitches. Okay, I have made it back to the side where the armhole is, so now I'm going to do the same thing of slip stitching into this side, and I'm going to work 2 slip stitches. Again, I cannot express this enough. Specifically for this pattern, you want to make sure you are spreading out your slip stitches pretty well, and it does take a little bit of trial and error to figure out just how much. I know I had to rework mine a couple of times just to get it right. So I did my 2 slip stitches, and then I chained 1, and I'm going to turn my work, and now I'm just going to do the exact same thing of skipping over those slip stitches and finding that first half double crochet and working into the 3rd loop. Okay, chain 1, turn your work, and you're just going to repeat the same thing of working half double crochets in the 3rd loop across, slip stitching into the side of the garment, chain 1, turn, and then working another row. And you're going to continue doing this all the way around the armhole, and I will meet you back once I have finished working all the way around, and I'm going to show you how I join these 2 sides together. Okay, I have just made it back around to the other side, and now we are going to join these 2 sides together by slip stitching them together. So what you're going to do is, I like to just fold those 2 on top of each other like this, and then chain 1, and I'm going to insert my hook through that first stitch, and I'm going to come over here and find the first stitch over here. Okay, so I have both of those 2 stitches on my hook, yarn over, and I'm going to slip stitch through both of those stitches just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing in every stitch across. So insert the hook onto this stitch, and then find the stitch that lines up with it on the other side, and then slip stitch, and this creates a really seamless finish, especially since it is ribbing. The slip stitches blend in with the ribbing, so it is very nice and seamless. Okay, and I have just worked my final slip stitch, and it should look like that. As you can see, it blends in really nicely. So now all I need to do is cut my yarn and weave in my ends, and then you are done. And that is how I added ribbing to the Alcott sweater vest. Again, this is a great technique to know because you can really add it to any project where you need to add ribbing to a project after the fact. And the free pattern for this vest will be linked down below. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you in the next video.